What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's having a great week so far. Hope everybody had a great weekend. And I hope you had a really good UFC 270 viewing experience. I know I did for sure. Now, you might be wondering why I have good old Tyron here in the background. I'm sure you can kind of see the title of the video. I don't know what I'll title the video exactly yet, but it should be something about Dana White, Francis, stuff like that. So you'll kind of get an idea of where I'm about to go with this. He's going to be part of the conversation here. Obviously, I do want to discuss a couple other things. This whole post-fight belt thing, Dana in general. I really want to discuss these absolute joke of a payout. I mean, this is a complete... I'll get into that in a second. Talk a little bit about Francis' grade 3 MCL tear potentially as well. Overall, a bunch of different things. I think one of the main things though, if you do end up enjoying this video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe for more content similar to this. I obviously have a different style of making these videos. I'm trying to differentiate myself from everybody else. I have a much more live kind of thing where I'm reacting to stuff in person, reading through stuff, watching videos and reacting. It's a different sort of style, as you can see. Am I recording? 119, 120. Yes, I'm recording. Okay, great. I always have to check if I'm recording. So let's start off with this, okay? Before we get into the absolute pathetic payouts that I'm looking over here, this was also just pretty bad. I know some people might say, hey, look, how do you know if Dana did not have a personal issue or a business issue or something that came up? It's entirely possible that that could have happened, and that's why he didn't show up afterwards. But what are the chances that Dana White, who's had public disputes with Francis, who has done stuff like this in the past, not showing up to the octagon if he doesn't like the fight, or potentially the fighter, showed up to most of the previous fights, was there in the arena, and then just happened to not show up in the octagon for a guy he has problems with currently due to contract issues, and then didn't show up to the press conference either? What are the chances that he just so happened to have a personal issue or a business issue at the time? I'm sorry, if someone can show me that maybe he did have one, I'll absolutely change my mind. But until then, I'm going to say this was just extremely petty. This was petty. It was sad. I would go so far as saying it's kind of pathetic. I feel like if you don't want to show up to the press conference, then okay, whatever. I mean, even then I think you should show up, but whatever. But at least wrap the belt around it. It takes 10, 15, 20 seconds. Or sorry, you stand in the octagon for like, 1-2 minutes waiting for the announcement. It takes, 15, 20 seconds to wrap the belt around, whatever. And then you go on with your day. If you don't want to show up to the press conference, don't. But the fact that, this is why I have this clip loaded up. If you guys remember this. Tyron had beat Darren Till here. Darren Till was getting a lot of hype from the UFC. Tyron was having a lot of disputes and issues with the UFC at the time. Him and Dana were butting heads a lot. So Dana wanted Tyron to lose here. And look at his face over here. Just look at Dana's face here. Most people have seen this by now. Look how mad he is. Just look at the way he walks over, dude. Someone's super triggered when they walk over like that. Now, there's a lot of good things I can say about Dana White. I prefer Dana to, especially the way he interacts in certain ways, to other milk bland, heads of other leagues. I forgot who the person... I don't watch that much NBA, but I've seen the head of the NBA. I forgot his name. The commissioner. Do some interviews. That dude's boring as hell. Now, boring is not bad. It's just different. To me, I like the way Dana, for example, interacts with fans. I like the way sometimes he interacts with media. I do like the way sometimes you can get certain answers out of him that maybe other people wouldn't give. Sometimes I like his fiery personality where he battles with other promoters. I like that type of stuff sometimes. Now, if you work for him and if you're a member of the media at times, you probably have certain ways you might feel about him. Especially when you're negotiating something as a fighter, when you say publicly against the UFC that maybe they don't appreciate and maybe you get shelved for a little bit. And when you're a media head, when you ask him a question, he shuts you down and just goes hard at you. Probably not the best of times. Now, again, but I think part of having someone who's so fiery like Dana White also means you're going to get the opposite as well, the way he acts with fighters and media sometimes. So it's you get something cool, but then you have to give that in return. Also, the way that Dana and his business and the head of the UFC handled the COVID situation, how they managed to adjust the business, put the Apex fights on, figure everything out, nothing short of incredible. Probably one of the best things I've seen, like incredible. However, this was just stupid, like not being there and sending Mick Maynard. Like, I don't know. That is just like, it's like, come on, dude. Like, it's not that hard to do it. Like that's just really, really petty to me. And here's the other problem. Like, first of all, I was quite wrong. I'm just going to talk about these payouts in 1 second now. I was obviously quite wrong about the way I was thinking the fight would go. I had thought that Gunn would win, and he was winning the first 2 rounds. Granted, Francis did have a injured knees going in, right? Like, I had to look into it. So he had a grade 3 MCL tear as well as damage on his AC. And I kind of looked into it. A grade 3 MCL tear is definitely very, very severe. He'll need surgery and a pretty decent amount of time to recover from that. Now, Francis making the adjustment he did was incredible. I know some people might have wanted maybe a more quote unquote stand and bang kind of fight where they're just trading shots the whole time. But you could see that when they were standing trading, dude, he was losing he was going to lose that fight if he did that. First 2 rounds Gunn had, and he would have had the last 3. To me, I found the fight so thrilling. Like, you're losing the first 2 rounds, then you get that takedown in the third round, and then the 4th round, and then the 5th round, Cyril gets the takedown, but then screws up by doing the leg lock for whatever reason. I still don't understand right now why he did that. And then Francis versus getting on top and winning the fight. To me, that's thrilling. That's exciting to me. In this type of fight with this much stakes, the round by round battle, to me, that's exciting. Now, to other people, they might not have found it as exciting. You know, fine. Not everybody has the same type of thing they like, and I can understand there's certain types of fights that, like, for example, if the dude is just, you know, quote unquote laying preying on someone and just smothering him, not doing anything. Yeah, I mean, sure, some fights can get boring like that, but this to me, just because of the stakes and the way the fight was going, even though Francis wasn't doing that much on top, for some reason I still just found it like entertaining to watch because of everything. So I was wrong about that. Now, I will say I am a bit concerned about where does this leave Francis. I had said that I think he's going to lose the fight and then leave the UFC because he's going to come off a loss. However, now that he's won, most likely he's going to need surgery. And the issue is that if he needs surgery, he's going to be taking pretty much the rest of the year off. Now, I think that if the UFC... So the way it works now is that because he's a champion when he wins, my understanding is that now Francis will have to stay for at least 1 year or 3 fights if your contract ends and you're a champion. My understanding. So I believe that even, you know, if they can't get into an agreement, the UFC is not just going to let him go in just separate ways. They'll probably just let Francis sit out for the rest of the year. Potentially, they might do that. I don't know. I mean, I still think that I don't think the UFC is going to give him the 7-figure type of show money that he probably wants. I also don't think they're going to give him a boxing option. To me, Francis should be making somewhere in the 7 figures minimum to show, right? I would say give... The problem with this is that, because I think all the champions probably deserve something like this, which is what I'm about to go into. I don't know. I mean, everybody has a different number that they might say that Francis may or may not deserve. There's no way you could just have less than 7 figures to show as a UFC heavyweight champion to me. Like, any UFC champion for that matter. And again, we could give or take and adjust, but in my opinion, like, is it crazy to say Francis should get 2 to 3 million to show at least? Is that crazy to say that the heavyweight champion of the world? And I feel like Francis does have some level of marketability. He's not a superstar yet, but is that crazy that the company at the UFC size, the amount of money they're making, Francis should make 2 to 3 million to show? I don't think that's crazy. I think that's completely reasonable. Now let's look at these absolute pathetic payouts. So the total payout was apparently 1.8 million, which is pathetic for a total UFC card. Yes, I know it wasn't the biggest pay-per-view ever. Yo, okay, people, think about this, okay? So the UFC's increased the pay-per-view price. They get guaranteed amount of money. What was it? From the ESPN deal that's equivalent to a certain amount of pay-per-view buys per show as long as they hit the targets. They just had a new deal signed with the... was it crypto.com? 1 second. UFC crypto deal. Was it that? Yeah, 175 million. That was, oh yeah, that was last year. For some reason, I thought that was more recent. Anyways, everybody knows the different streams of income that the UFC gets, right? Everybody knows that. So, look, I also understand the argument that the UFC is not as old as some of these other organizations. I believe NBA was mid 1900s. Baseball was early 1900s. Soccer, like I guess the major FIFA was early 1900s or something. So I understand the UFC's only been really here for what, since 94 or something like that, or 93. I understand that they haven't been here as long, and I can understand the argument, okay? I understand that. However, this is absolutely pathetic, these paydays right here, okay? Francis Ngannou, I know he had the deal signed from before, which a deal's a deal. You signed it was a long-term contract, 8-fight deals, which sucks. But Francis should have got at least, in my opinion, $2 million to show for this fight. In my opinion, okay. Some people might think he should get higher. Some people might think a little bit lower, but we can negotiate that. But I think everybody can agree that there's no way that Francis deserves less than $1 million to show. I will debate anybody on that. Any day of the week, I can debate anybody on that. So. God, so 1.8 million to show. So I just want to put this into context for some people, okay? On planet Earth, there's 7.8 billion people approximately. And of the 7.8 billion people, you have, I think I read somewhere it's like 2.5 billion or 3 billion that are between the ages of 20 and 35. I believe that's a statistic. But we can throw out that number. Let's just say 20 to 40, there's 3 billion people, okay? This is the age bracket of UFC fighters. Let's just say 20 to 40, okay? Give or take. So UFC being the premier mixed martial arts league, Francis right now is the number out of everybody aged 20 to 40 on Earth, which could be again 2.5 to 3 billion people. Francis Ngannou is number one in the sports of mixed martial arts. Now I know there's weight differences. I understand that, so it's a smaller number, but I'm saying he is a elite class of human being. Out of billions of people between the age group of 20 and 40, Francis Ngannou is number one in the heavyweight division in the premier sport. So out of everybody on earth, he's number one. For fighting, for mixed martial arts, he's number one. Okay? At heavyweight. There's nobody quote unquote better than him right now. You can say, oh, maybe somebody in a different organization or somebody. Okay, no. Just right now, as UFC champion in the UFC, the Premier League, he's number one out of billions of people on earth. Okay? When you look at it as a very, very basic, sort of large numerical number. When you are number one on earth, okay, out of billions of people, you should be getting paid a ton of money for what you're good at. And what Francis is good at is fighting, okay? Entertaining us. We pay to see Francis bulldoze people, right? We pay UFC title fights because it's you're watching fights at the highest level at each different weight class. And Francis is number one at heavyweight between the ages of 20 and 40, billions of people on earth, okay? Now again, I know between 205, 265, it's a smaller amount of people. And I know out of all the fighters on earth, it's a smaller amount of people. I'm just saying that out of billions of people on earth, he has the skill and talent to be number one. And you're going to tell me that this 600 grand for a fight makes sense? Never. Nope, never. If somebody told me that 1 million makes sense, nope, does not make sense to me. It has to be 2 to 3 million to show just as a start or something. I think maybe you could justify he can get more in some ways, but like for me, for like Conor, for example, like Conor gets paid pretty good, but you know he deserves it because of multiple reasons. As much as you might not like John Jones and everything about him, dude, John Jones deserves millions to show per fight. He deserves millions, technically speaking. Israel Adesanya should be getting millions to show per fight. I understand that right now because there's no pressure from other organizations and the UFC is the best in the league. It's hard to make the pay that high because they have so much leverage, they have so much power, etc., etc. But it's like, come on, guys, like 600 grand to show, 1.8 million total pay. Like, look at this. Brandon Moreno, 200 grand. Davison Figueroa, 150 grand. And you have to remember, dude, this is, so this was in, oh my God, so it's in California. So they would have to pay state tax in California, right? Which is really high. And this is pre-tax, if I remember correctly. So what are you really making on the card, dude? Like 200 to show. How much of that is state tax in California? Hold on. Watch, we're gonna find it right now. Okay. Where is it? Okay, so obviously it goes by marginal tax rate, so I'm not gonna be able to calculate the entire thing. However, do I know that California has higher taxes than other places? Yes, I realize that. So again, like, you make 200 to show, you have your coaching whatever fees, your training camp fees, the taxes. Like, what is Brandon Moreno left with after the 200K? Maybe what, like 120, 130, I think, maybe 140, 150, because I don't know what his training camp costs. I don't know what his manager fee costs. I don't know what his exact taxes are. So you're telling me Brandon Moreno, the flyweight champion in the premier organization out of billions of people on earth, he's number one at 125. He should get, after everything is paid, 130, 40, 50 grand. Absolutely pathetic. Pathetic. I mean, it is such a joke at this point. I can't believe it. Ugh. Pathetic, dude. This is just, man. I'm sorry, guys. This is just, Cyril Gunn, again, 500,000. He's interim champion, which I don't really consider a real champion, but sure, he got 500 grand. I don't know, man. Michel Pereira got 100,000. That's after 50 grand win bonus, so he was only got 50. Andrew Fiallo got 12 grand. Okay, 12,000 after taxes, after training expenses. I don't know if this guy has some manager fee he has to pay. What are you left with, dude? 8,000, 7,000. Now I know Andre Fiallo is not the champion. He's on the top 3. He's not this. He's not. I understand that, but Jesus, dude. So I'm just more so focusing on these top guys right now. Like I don't know, man. Like it's pretty sad. That is very, very sad. They're gonna pay the guy. Anyways, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I've been talking for a long ass time now, 17 minutes. Jesus Christ, or almost 18 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and like I said, like the video if you like it, and subscribe for more content similar to this. I will catch you guys later. Peace.